Good evening, and welcome to SpaceX's live coverage of the Globalstar 2R Launch 1 mission for Globalstar. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket is currently awaiting liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Liftoff is scheduled for 9:12 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Hello, everyone. My name is Corey Brundle, and I am a senior software engineer here at SpaceX. Globalstar operates a low Earth orbit satellite constellation that enables reliable connectivity for direct-to-device, Internet of Things, asset tracking, and satellite messaging applications. The network supports industries including consumer, energy, logistics, agriculture, government, and public safety. Today's mission will deliver 8 Globalstar satellites to orbit, where they will integrate into the existing constellation. The satellites will replenish aging assets and ensure the continued performance and reliability of the network, ensuring their customers continue to have consistent access to satellite connectivity in remote and mission-critical environments. At just over T-minus 8 minutes and 40 seconds until launch, teams are currently tracking no issues and weather is looking good. There's only a 10% chance of weather violation. If needed, a backup launch opportunity is available tomorrow, August 16th at 8:54 p.m. Eastern Time. While the countdown continues, let's hear more about Globalstar.
For nearly 3 decades, Globalstar has been at the forefront of mobile satellite services, connecting people and industries around the world. From the very beginning, our mission has been simple but powerful. Deliver critical communications that are reliable and always on, whenever and wherever you need it, with SOS capabilities, powering critical infrastructure in the field, keeping people connected, safe, and ensuring visibility worldwide. As demand for resilient satellite services reaches new heights, we're entering our next era. From our state-of-the-art satellite operations command centers to the expansion of ground stations across the globe, every investment strengthens our ability to manage, scale, and innovate across the network. These sweeping upgrades include the deployment of approximately 90 new antennas across 35 ground stations worldwide and new satellite launches, allowing us to future-proof our services for hundreds of millions of users around the world. At the same time, we're advancing our next-generation satellite constellation, designed to transform communications through a multitude of next-gen initiatives, including SOS and messaging services, private 5G through terrestrial networking, and satellite IoT for command, control, and asset tracking. By concentrating capacity on demand, this network delivers new levels of resilience, efficiency, and performance. Together, these innovations represent more than just technology upgrades, but a promise to continue leading as pioneers and innovators in space, delivering mission-critical connectivity for the demands of global communications. Globalstar, connecting today, innovating for tomorrow.
The Falcon 9 rocket supporting Globalstar 2R Launch 1 is a 2-stage rocket designed for the reliable and safe transportation of satellites, cargo, and people. Starting from the very top of the rocket is the payload fairing. This fairing is a protective shell that shields the payload from aerodynamic heating until the vehicle is outside Earth's atmosphere. The shape of the fairing contributes to Falcon 9's overall efficiency, helping to reduce drag during flight. Once in space, the 2 fairing halves separate and fall back to Earth, where they will be retrieved by a SpaceX.
Stage 1 RP1 load is complete.
Where they'll be retrieved by a SpaceX recovery vessel to be refurbished and reused on future flights. Both halves of the fairing are flight-proven, with one side flying for its 8th time. If recovery goes to plan, the fairings will be pulled from the ocean and prepped to fly again. Right below the fairing is Falcon 9's second stage, which features a single Merlin vacuum, or MVAC engine. Below the second stage is the black carbon fiber interstage, and inside of that is where the MVAC engine is located. Below the interstage is the first stage, or booster, which will be fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of liquid oxygen and RP1 rocket-grade kerosene. The first stage makes up the bottom 2/3 of the vehicle and has 9 Merlin M1D engines at the bottom, which generate more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. The booster supporting today's mission will be making its 14th flight. It previously launched SES-03B mPower-E, NASA's Crew 10 mission, SpaceX's Bandwagon 3 rideshare, SES-03B mPower-D, NASA's CRS-33 mission, and 8 Starlink missions. That's a lot of missions. Now, just after 2 minutes into flight, the first stage will separate and make its way back to Earth. Today, the booster is headed to landing zone 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressing for strong back retract.
Great call out there. Now, with just over 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go, everything is looking on track for launch. Next up in the countdown, the transporter erector, or TE, will begin to retract away from Falcon 9, which is what we heard mentioned in that call out. First, we'll see the clamps around the second stage open, then the TE will begin to pivot back, slowly swinging away from the rocket.
Strongback retract has started.
Great call out there that the strongback has started to retract. Now, you may hear the TE called the strongback, but the strongback is just one of the components of the transporter erector. The TE actually has two components, the strongback, which sits alongside Falcon 9, and then the launch mount underneath. At this point, we can see those clamps are now fully open. This means we're just a few seconds away from the strongback fully reclining away from the vehicle. The strongback is hinged to the launch mount and will rotate a few degrees away from Falcon 9, and then at liftoff, the strongback will rotate even further away to clear the way for Falcon 9. You can see that strongback is...
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Great call out there for Stage 1 LOX load complete. We can see at this point the strongback is starting to recline, just very slowly, and you can also see those clamps are now fully clear of the vehicle. At this stage in the countdown, the rocket is now nearly fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of propellant. That includes rocket propellant 1, or RP1, which is a highly refined kerosene, and liquid oxygen, or LOX, which is chilled to roughly 300 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Looking ahead in the count, at T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will enter startup. And at that point, the rocket's onboard flight computers...
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
There we heard confirmation that the Stage 2 LOX load is complete. At T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds until launch, the range is green.
The ground gas closeouts.
The payloads remain healthy, and the team is tracking no issues for launch.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And there we heard good confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup. At this point, the autonomous flight computers have taken over the count, and both Falcon stages are pressurizing for launch. Now we're just waiting for our launch director to give the final go.
LD, go for launch.
And there it is, LD's go for launch. So let's sit back and watch as Falcon 9 prepares for liftoff.
30 seconds. Seconds. Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 ignition. Engines full power and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Globalstar.
M1D, chamber pressure is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The vehicle is currently throttling down to prepare for max Q, the point of maximum aerodynamic stress.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Hearing some good callouts that systems are looking nominal so far. Max Q is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster
Falcon is supersonic.
than the increasing speed of the rocket.
Max Q.
And there's max Q. Now we have several events coming up in quick succession here, which are main engine cutoff, stage separation, second stage engine start, or SES1, and start of the boost back burn. You can follow along with the timeline on the graphics on the screen. First up, main engine cutoff, or MECO, is when all 9 engines
MVAC Joe.
on the first stage shut down. This is followed by stage separation, where the first and second stages are pushed apart. Immediately after that, the second stage engine will ignite to continue pushing towards orbit. This is also known as second engine start 1, or SES1. Then, shortly after that, the first stage will perform a boost back burn, putting it on track for landing. Let's stand by for those events, which should start in just about 10 seconds here.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC startup.
Stage 1 boost back startup.
And there we heard confirmation of all of those events that happened back to back. And we got some really sweet views there of stage separation. So again, those events were main engine cutoff, stage separation, second stage engine start 1, and start of the boost back burn. Coming up next will be fairing separation. This is when the 2 fairing halves separate and fall away as they are no longer needed to protect the payload once in space.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there's confirmation of fairing separation. Wow, look at that view. And those are our satellites for Globalstar right there. So now those fairings will be making their way back for recovery. The boost back burn, meanwhile, is continuing on stage 1 as it heads towards landing zone 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
And there's confirmation of boost back N. The next major milestone coming up is the entry burn on Falcon 9's first stage. This is scheduled to occur at the T plus 6 minute and 15 second mark. The entry burn is used to slow the first stage as it heads back to landing zone 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Without the entry burn, Falcon 9 would only be using the atmospheric drag to slow it down, and that would add a lot of extra stress to the vehicle. That's why we do the entry burn, and after the entry burn, the booster will initiate the landing burn. This will slow the vehicle down even further for a precise landing.
Nominal trajectory.
To help steer the first stage as it returns to Earth, Falcon 9 is equipped with 4 hypersonic grid fins positioned near the top of the first stage. Now, when weather is clear, we often get a really nice view of those grid fins, but since it's nighttime, we'll have to see whether we get that view or not. Now, if you're just joining us today, today's mission, we will be delivering 8 Globalstar satellites to orbit. These satellites will integrate into the existing Globalstar constellation. The Globalstar satellites that we are delivering to orbit will help replenish aging assets in the fleet and ensure the continued performance and reliability of the Globalstar network. So the next milestone that we're coming up on will be that entry burn. You should see the graphics light up on the screen as the engines do once we start doing that entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There's that call for the entry burn startup. This burn will last about 17 seconds, slowing down the vehicle and prep for its final burn and landing.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And that concludes the booster's entry burn. Now it's a little hard to see, but on the left of your screen, that's the booster coming back down to Earth, and you can just make out that pattern of the grid fin on the right-hand side of that image.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
Stage 1 transonic.
We should hear that call out for the landing burn in just a few moments here.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And there is that call out for the landing burn startup on the Falcon 9 first stage. This is the final burn that this booster will execute leading up to landing.
Stage 2.
Stage 1 landing leg deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And landing confirmed.
Stage 2 FTS safe.
That marks the 14th landing for this booster. Coming up quickly is second engine cutoff 1, or SECO 1. This is the shutdown of the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage.
MVAC shutdown.
Great call out. That was the completion of the first of 2 burns by the MVAC
Nominal
engine.
orbit insertion.
Good orbital insertion. Payload deployment is up next, and that is expected to begin at T plus 57 minutes and 28 seconds. Just before that, the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will execute its second burn. So we're going to take a break and return for that next burn in about 42 minutes. We'll see you then.
Good afternoon and welcome to the USSF 366 mission. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket is currently awaiting liftoff from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, with liftoff targeted for 6:50 p.m. Pacific Time. Hello everyone, my name is Zachary Lupin and I'm an avionics supply chain engineer here at SpaceX. And thank you for joining for the second mission of today, and actually the second mission in just the last hour. This mission, USSF 366, carries a payload for the United States Space Force. And we also just had Globalstar 2R Launch 1 lift off shortly ago from Slick 40 in Florida, and that mission is actually still in progress with its payload deployment of 8 satellites scheduled for about an hour from now. Now, over on the West Coast, the range is currently green, and everything is looking to be on track for an on-time liftoff for SpaceX's 97th Falcon launch this year. And despite the cloudy skies, the weather is also green, with a 10% possibility of launch weather constraints. However, if for any reason we are unable to launch today, a backup opportunity is available tomorrow at 2:38 p.m. Pacific Time. Also, at the request of our customer, we will not be showing any Stage 2 or payload deployment views for this mission, so our live coverage will end right after the first stage landing. While that countdown continues, let's take a closer look at the launch vehicle supporting today's mission. The Falcon 9 rocket supporting today's mission is a 2-stage rocket designed for the reliable and safe transportation of satellites, cargo, and people. Starting from the very top of the rocket is the payload fairing. That fairing is a protective shell that shields the payload from aerodynamic heating until the vehicle is outside of the Earth's atmosphere. And that shape of the fairing contributes to Falcon 9's overall efficiency, helping to reduce drag during flight. Once in space, the 2 fairing halves will separate and fall back to Earth, where they'll be retrieved by a SpaceX recovery vessel to be refurbished and reused on future flights. And both halves of the fairing are flight proven, with one side flying for its 29th time and the other for its 27th. If recovery goes to plan, the fairings will be pulled from the ocean and prepped to fly again on future missions. Right below the payload fairing is Falcon 9's second stage, which features a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine. And below that second stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage, and inside of that is where that MVAC engine is currently located. And located below that is the first stage or booster, which very shortly will be...
RP1 load is complete.
And good call out that RP1 load is complete. Located below the inner stage is the first stage or booster, which very shortly will be fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of liquid oxygen and RP1 rocket-grade kerosene. And that first stage makes up the bottom 2/3 of the vehicle and has 9 Merlin M1D engines at the bottom, which generate more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. And like the fairings today, the booster supporting this mission is also flight proven and will be making its 18th flight today. It's been flying since late 2024 and previously launched to NROL 126, Transporter 12, SphereX, NROL 57, and 13 Starlink missions. Now, about 2.5 minutes into flight, the first stage will separate and return to Earth, and today the booster is headed to SpaceX's drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is currently stationed in the Pacific Ocean. Now, with about 5.5 minutes to go, everything is on track for today's mission. Now, next up in the countdown, the Transporter Erector, or TE, will begin to retract away from Falcon 9. And the TE is that large support structure you see there next to the rocket. It's hinged at the base and connected to the launch mount beneath the first stage. First, we'll see the clamp arms around the second stage open, and then the TE will begin to pivot away, slowly swinging away from...
strong back retract.
And good call out there for the strong back retract, which is about to start. So first, we'll see those clamp arms around the second stage open, and then the TE will begin to pivot back, slowly swinging away from the vehicle.
Strong back retract.
And there's that call out that the strong back retract is started, and you can just make out those clamp arms beginning to open around the second stage. Those clamps help stabilize the second stage during fueling and prevent movement in high winds. Once they're open, the rocket will be fully free at the top, but will still be held down at the base. Now you may hear the TE called the strongback, though a strongback is just one of the components of the Transporter Erector, and it actually has 2, a strongback alongside Falcon 9 and a launch mount underneath. The launch mount has the 4 hold downs that release at T0. The TE also does a lot of heavy lifting as it rolls Falcon 9 out to the pad, raises it vertical, and stays connected to the rocket through the final seconds before launch. It also provides fuel, power, telemetry, and command connections between ground systems and the rocket. And there you can see that strong back retracting away from Falcon 9. Now, coming up shortly, we should hear the call out indicating that LOX loading has finished on the Falcon 9 first stage. And we should hear that call out in just about 15 seconds from now. That first stage is fully loaded around the T-minus 3 minute mark, and then the second stage will finish up about a minute later.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out for completion of stage 1 LOX loading. So at this stage in the countdown, the rocket is nearly fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of propellant. And that includes rocket propellant 1, or RP1, which is a highly refined kerosene, and liquid oxygen, or LOX, chilled to roughly 300 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Now, looking ahead in the count at T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will enter startup. And at that point, the rocket's onboard flight computers will take over. And from there on out, the countdown will be fully autonomous. Just inside of that T-minus 2 second mark, the 9 Merlin 1D engines will ignite. And once they're at full power, Falcon 9 will lift off from the pad and begin its climb to orbit. Now at T-minus 2 minutes and 10 seconds, the range is still green, the payload remains healthy, and the team is tracking no issues. And we should hear a call out for stage 2 LOX load completion in just a few moments.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out that stage 2 LOX loading has completed. Falcon 9 is now fully loaded with 1 million pounds of RP1 and liquid oxygen. And coming up in just a couple moments, we should hear the call out for
gas closeouts.
right on cue, the call out for gas closeouts, and that refers to venting and closing out gaseous systems such as topping off tanks and sealing vents to maintain pressure. And coming up in just about 17 seconds from now, we should hear that call out for Falcon 9 being in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And there's that call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. At this point, the autonomous flight computers have taken over the launch countdown, and both stages are pressurizing for launch. We're now just waiting on the final go, no-go from the launch director.
Go for launch.
And there's that final go for today's mission. So let's sit back and watch as Falcon 9 takes USSF 366 to space.
T-minus 3 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go USSF 366. M1D chamber pressure is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds and counting, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. The vehicle is now throttling down its engines to prepare for max Q, which is the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Telemetry, nominal.
And good call out there for nominal telemetry. The engines are now throttling down to prepare for max Q, the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure during ascent. Now, max Q occurs when the
vehicle is supersonic.
There's a call out that the vehicle is now supersonic, traveling faster than the speed of sound. Now, max Q occurs when the combination of speed and air pressure puts the greatest stress on the vehicle, and we should hear that call out in just a few moments.
Max Q.
And right on cue. There's that call out for max Q. Now, coming up next, we'll have a few events happening in quick succession, starting with MECO, followed by stage separation, and then SES-1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is where all 9 Merlin 1D engines shut down to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, which is where the first and second stages separate from one another. Now, following this, the MVAC engine on the second stage will light, which is called out as second engine start 1, or SES-1. Now, that burn, which will last for several minutes, will propel the second stage and the payload to orbit. And in addition to these major events, the fairing halves will separate about half a minute after SES-1. And as a reminder, we will not have any views of Falcon 9 second stage or the payload at the request of our customer today. Now, we should be hearing the first of those callouts in just about 20 seconds from now. And as a reminder, that'll be for main engine cutoff, or MECO.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC startup.
And there we heard those callouts for MECO, followed by stage separation, and then second engine start 1, or SES-1. And coming up shortly, we should hear a callout for fairing separation, but as a reminder, we will not be showing it on screen. And as I mentioned earlier, both of the payload fairing halves supporting today's mission
Fairing
are...
separation confirmed.
And there's that call out for fairing separation. Both of those fairings are already flight proven, with one half flying for its 27th time today and the other for its 29th. Now, if you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage of the USSF 366 mission. To recap so far, we had an on-time liftoff at 6:50 p.m. Pacific Time from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, and had successful stage separation of our Falcon rocket. Up next will be the return of our Falcon 9 booster to Earth. Now, in order to make its way back to Earth today, the Falcon 9 first stage has 2 more burns to execute. First up will be the entry burn, which helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And then following that entry burn, shortly thereafter, the booster will initiate its landing burn, which will slow the vehicle down for a soft touchdown on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. And we're expecting that entry burn to begin at around the T+6 minute mark. Now, during the entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing its Merlin engines in the direction that it's moving, and this causes the rocket to fly through the engine's exhaust gases, which deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle's surface. And this is what gives SpaceX's flight-proven vehicles their characteristic look. That soot comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses, and with each flight, the soot builds up a little more on the outside of the vehicle. Now, we're about a minute and a half away from the start of that entry burn of the Falcon 9 first stage, and you can follow along with the telemetry shown at the bottom of your screen, with the vehicle's altitude and speed shown at the bottom left-hand corner, and the engine light-up status shown on the right. Now, the Falcon 9 booster is also equipped with 4 hypersonic grid fins, and you can see 2 of them there on your screen, along with some beautiful views of the clouds above the ocean beneath. And those 2 grid fins, which are positioned near the top of the first stage, are used to steer the vehicle as it returns to Earth. Those grid fins are the primary aerodynamic control surfaces for the first stage during atmospheric reentry and descent, and are a critical part of Falcon 9's reusability system. From time to time, you may also spot white puffs coming from Falcon 9, and those are the cold nitrogen gas bursts which help with attitude control. Now, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investments in critical space infrastructure. The Falcon 9 first stage that is supporting today's mission will be performing its entry burn shortly for its 18th time. And we should be hearing that call out for the start of the entry burn in just about 5 seconds from now.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there's that call out for entry burn startup on the Falcon 9 first stage. This burn will last about 24 seconds and again is slowing down the vehicle in preparation for its final burn and landing on our drone ship.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there's that call out for entry burn shutdown, signifying the completion of that entry burn. And coming up next will be the first stage landing burn. Now, as a reminder, this is the final burn by the booster and is used to reduce the remaining speed of the vehicle for a precise landing. For today, our booster is targeting a soft touchdown on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is currently stationed in the Pacific Ocean. And we're just under a minute away from the start of that landing burn. Now, as I discussed earlier, the booster forms the lower 2/3 of the overall Falcon rocket stack, and as its name suggests, Falcon 9, it is equipped with 9 Merlin 1D engines. And the Merlins on the first stage are optimized for sea level, and these achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust each during ascent and descent. At liftoff, Falcon's first stage has thrust greater than 5 747 airplanes at full power.
Stage 1 transonic.
And there's that call out that stage 1 is now transonic. And we should be hearing the call out for the landing burn in just about 20 seconds from now.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And there's that call out for
Stage
landing
2
burn
terminal
startup on our
guidance.
booster.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And another successful landing for Falcon 9. And with this second mission today,
Stage 2 FTS is safe.
we have actually broken our previous record for fastest time between launches. Our previous record was 1 hour, 5 minutes, set back in August 2024 by a pair of Starlink missions, and our new record as of now is 38 minutes. So congratulations to the entire SpaceX team on this new achievement. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the program, we will not be showing any Stage 2 or deployment views today at the request of our customer. So with the successful recovery of Falcon 9's first stage, we'll be bringing today's live mission coverage to a close. We'd like to thank the United States Space Force for entrusting SpaceX with today's mission, as well as the Range and FAA for their support. And if you're interested in more launch coverage, head on over to spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information. And while you're there, check out the departure board for details on SpaceX's upcoming missions. And of course, be sure to follow @SpaceX on X for ongoing updates. As always, thank you for joining, and we'll see you again soon.
SpaceX's live coverage of the Globalstar 2R Launch 1 mission. It has been a great launch and overall mission so far. Falcon 9 had an on-time liftoff at 9:12 p.m. Eastern Time. The first stage saw its 14th successful landing, and the MVAC engine on the second stage ignited a couple minutes after liftoff for second engine start 1, or SES-1. That engine burn lasted about 6 minutes, propelling the second stage and payloads to orbit. Coming up next, the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will execute a second burn to get the vehicle into the proper orbit. This is known as SES-2, or second engine start 2. Now, if you turned in during the coast, we've been getting some of these insane views of the payload here. So these are our 8 Globalstar satellites, and we've had stunning views both on sun and during eclipse. Again, that next milestone will be SES-2, or second engine start 2, which is coming up in about 20 seconds here. This is very important for making sure we get into the right orbit to do our payload deployment.
Nominal orbit insertion 2.
All right, great call out there of nominal orbit insertion. As you can see, that second burn was super quick. Coming up next, the next milestone is going to be payload deployment. That's set to begin at T plus 57 minutes and 28 seconds. So we'll take a quick break, leave you with some space tunes, and see you back here in about 3 minutes. wrap up the Globalstar 2R Launch 1 mission. Falcon 9 is currently preparing to deliver 8 Globalstar satellites to orbit. Before the quick break, we saw the second stage on the vehicle complete its second engine start 2 and second engine cutoff 2, which were the second burn. Next up, payload deployment will begin at T plus 57 minutes and 28 seconds. The full sequence will be about 6 minutes long. Another incredible view there of the payloads.
Spacepass 1, separation confirmed.
And there we see the first satellite being deployed. Incredible view.
Spacecraft 2, separation confirmed.
And here goes satellite number 2. Now, as a reminder, Globalstar operates a low Earth orbit satellite constellation. This constellation enables reliable connectivity for direct-to-device, Internet of Things, asset tracking, and satellite messaging applications. We're waiting for that third satellite to deploy. The satellites that are deploying today will integrate into the existing Globalstar constellation and help replenish aging assets.
Spacecraft 3, separation confirmed.
And there goes satellite number 3.
Spacecraft 4, separation confirmed.
And satellite number 4. The Globalstar network supports several different industries, including consumer, energy, logistics, agriculture, government, and public safety. So far, we've deployed 4 of the 8 satellites, so we're halfway through deployment. By replenishing assets in their fleet, the Globalstar constellation ensures customers continue to have consistent access to satellite connectivity in remote and mission-critical environments. Right now, we're just standing by for those other satellites to finish deploying.
Spacecraft 5, separation confirmed.
And right on cue, there goes satellite number 5.
Spacecraft 6, separation confirmed.
And there goes satellite number 6. Satellite connectivity plays a key role enabling communications beyond the reach of cellular networks. Therefore, this launch supports applications such as asset monitoring, environmental sensing, and emergency communications. Now we're just waiting for satellites 7 and 8 to finish deployment. We're currently in standby, waiting for those last 2 satellites of the 8 Globalstar satellites to finish deployment.
Spacecraft 7, separation confirmed.
And there goes satellite number 7.
Spacecraft 8, separation confirmed. All payloads, separation confirmed.
And there goes the final satellite. I do not think we could have gotten a better view of those 8 satellites being deployed. With that, that'll bring us to the end of today's live mission coverage. We would sincerely like to thank Globalstar for entrusting SpaceX with their spacecraft today. We'd also like to thank the FAA and the Eastern Range for their support of today's mission. Be sure to check out spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information on upcoming launches. And follow @SpaceX on X for ongoing updates. I'm Corey Brendel here at SpaceX, and we'll see you next time.